I have this vivid memory of a time when my parents took me to church as a wee lad. The pastor was yapping like they usually do, but near the end, they honed in on a very specific message. They were saying something along the lines of, to be a good person, you have to be willing to give up all of your personal belongings. The thought of just giving away all of my favorite toys terrified me to my core, and I started crying like a little bitch right there. My parents then had to explain to me that I didn't actually have to get rid of all my stuff. Then I was fine. But it's funny to look back on that memory because I feel like today my view on physical possessions is completely different. Don't get me wrong, I still very much like having stuff. It's nice to have stuff. But I just don't place as much value in physical things as I used to as a kid. I mean, as a child, nothing matters more than your games, your toys, and your Pokemon cards. Now if I lose something of mine, it'll bum me out, but in the grand scheme of things will feel pretty insignificant. I know I'll get over it, and I think that's just part of growing up. As you age, you realize the actual important things are all invisible, like relationships, memories, and ideas. So why is it that I get so much joy from collecting stuff? Let me explain. To me, I see collecting as another method of documenting my life. Just like taking photos or journaling, it's less about owning physical things and more about capturing memories.
Let's do a slide here so you can really get the depth of how many there are. There we go.
Each one of my vinyl represents a point in my life, and when spun on my record player, it's like traveling back in time. Though it's been a while, I can tell you that Gone Now by Bleachers was the soundtrack to my freshman year in high school. I can tell you that Nurture by Porter Robinson kept my spirits up during the pandemic. And I can tell you that Modal Soul by Nujabes is one of my favorite albums that I had a chance to pick up recently during a trip to a new city.
It's an album I feel like I can recommend to just about anybody because I think anyone would get enjoyment out of this. One of the most enjoyable albums across the board that I can think of. Yeah, this is the meme album from the memes. I just love this album. It is a great one to have on vinyl as well because it's very chill. I always love when it comes with like booklets and whatnot. This one comes with a lot of cool shit. I guess it's like a collector's edition or a deluxe edition or whatever, but it's got all these cool notes on the lyrics and songwriting and whatnot. Cool pictures. This feels like a pretty quintessential jazz album. It's the kind of album that I think everyone who has a record player or is collecting vinyls should have. I'm not super well versed in jazz or anything, but I want to get more into it, and so that's why I got this album. Also, Chet Baker sings. His voice is so fantastic, and just the mellow vibe of all the songs is right up my alley. I guess if there's a common thread between all of the vinyls I own, I guess it's that I like chill stuff. I like stuff that's chill that you can just vibe out to. Especially, I feel like that works especially with vinyl, because when I spin a vinyl, I kind of want to relax, do something else at the same time.
As far as collecting goes, vinyl is really easy to get into because of how readily available they are right now. Record shops, bookstores, Target. You can, and I often do, make a whole day out of vinyl hunting. And as opposed to collecting something like paintings, these can act as more than just decoration. Sure, you could stream an album on some Bluetooth speakers, but there's just something special about dropping the needle on a steamy licorice pizza. And since music is a purely auditory experience, it's fun to see where artists go when tasked with visualizing the medium. The sleeves, booklets, gatefold covers, it all gives an opportunity to expand and enrich an album's aesthetic. And of course, it's a super easy way to support independent artists that are notoriously screwed over by music streaming services. For some of these records that are near and dear to my heart, it feels like a shame to confine them to JPEGs in my Apple Music library. Yes, I use Apple Music, please forgive me, God. Though it only feels right to have physical versions of these albums. Because to me, this is more than just a collection of songs. It's a collection of priceless memories.
But this one I felt like I had to have. It is one from one of my favorite video games ever, Machinarium, and the soundtrack is unbelievably good. Has such a unique, it's like kind of electronic, ambient, atmospheric. It just has a very unique sound and very unique vibe that I haven't heard many other soundtracks capture. I guess I could talk about all of these in one go, but this is like basically like my city pop collection of vinyls. If you recognize any of these, you probably recognize this one. This is like one of the classics. The cool thing about getting city pop vinyls is there are a few that are, like super popular and that kind of blew up in the resurgence of city pop and whatnot, but there's There's quite a few like these two that aren't as popular, and so they're like pretty cheap. These cost like $10 for me to get each of them individually. The only problem is the shipping, because then, yeah, if you're getting them straight from Japan, it's gonna fuck you out the ass with the shipping. But I think it's worth it for these really cool records. This one, unfortunately, is totally warped, but it has a really cool disc. It's got like the actual design on the disc. I think that's cool. If you don't know this one, you should. I mean, if you don't, I'm gonna think you're stupid. Like, I'm gonna think you're just a little bit stupid. This is like probably one of, if not my favorite album ever. Nurtured by Porter Robinson means a lot to me. The aesthetic, the sound, it's so unique. I love a lot about it, but I mostly love what it meant to me when it came out. It came out during just like the perfect time. I feel like it was going through it, and this kind of helped me get through it, and it's just a beautiful album, one of my favorites. The Postal Service, Give Up, is probably the only other album to fight for the favorite album ever spot, but it is very influential for me, my tastes, and everything. It is just no skips. It is a perfect album, I think.
The unfortunate thing about memories is that they're invisible and they fade away over time. But owning these physical souvenirs of my past helped me to reminisce and stay connected with those cherished bygone moments. Now, I'd be lying if I said there was absolutely no importance to the physicality of this hobby. It is so incredibly satisfying to build up a collection over time and cultivate a wide variety of things. Like with many people, I discovered my addiction to collecting stuff early on in my childhood with a very specific product. Obviously, it was Pokemon. I'm talking about Pokemon cards. I don't think I ever learned how to actually play with Pokemon cards, but I was just obsessed with opening the packages and seeing what was hiding inside. It definitely helped that the design and artwork was sick as hell. I love to just admire the intricacies of the art and the shiny finish.
I haven't looked at these in a very long time. Part of me wonders, I know Pokemon cards are still a thing today, but part of me wonders if it's still as hype as it was back in my day, because I feel like in my childhood, at least, this was unavoidable. Like, you had to have Pokemon cards. I was trading them with everybody. I mostly just loved the artwork on them. A lot of them had really cool artwork.
I don't know anything about the shitstorm that is Pokemon collecting in the modern day, so if there's anything that I have here that's really valuable, please let me know. It wasn't just Pokemon either. I discovered the joys of building a collection with books, toys, etc.
See, when I was growing up, it was cool if you had The Strange Case of Origami Yoda. And it was really cool if you also had Darth Paper Strikes Back. But the real flex was if you had those two and you had The Secret of the Fortune Wookiee. I mean, you had to have them all, honestly. And then, I mean, at this point with these, it's like, you might be doing a little too much, but I mean, you know. And of course I have Diary of a Wimpy Kid. What do you think this is? Who do you think? Boom. 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 I always liked this one because I had a vivid memory of ordering this from the Scholastic little catalogs that they give out during the book fairs and whatnot. I just remember ordering this and being so hyped when it got dropped off at my desk. Does anybody else remember these? The Amulet series. I feel like I'm alone in having grown up reading these, but they were really cool. They were graphic novels. The art style was really cool. It stood out to me at the time. They were made for kids, but they weren't like overly like little kiddie or stupid, you know. It felt like a legit series. The world building, character designs, it was all really cool. Obviously at some point I grew out of it, but I am kind of curious. Maybe I should go back. Maybe I should revisit them and even see where they're at today. I think they're still making them.
Finally, I really like collecting stuff because it supports my sense of identity. You can tell a lot about a person by what's included in their collection of favorite media. Take, for instance, my pitiful collection of Blu-rays. Yeah, I've only recently really gotten into film, so this is the smallest collection I have currently. Nevertheless, I use this collection as a showcase for some of my all-time favorite movies. Films that are meaningful, inspiring, and when put side by side, they feel like me. If my vinyls preserve my memories, then my Blu-rays preserve my identity, which is why I understand the presence of Eraserhead might be a bit concerning. Today, with everything being digital and solely in the hands of streaming services, it's totally possible that you could just lose access to some of your favorite movies at a moment's notice. It happens all the time that companies go under or trade exclusive rights to movies, or just literally erase media from existence. That's why I think it's really important to buy physical versions of the films that mean something to you, so that you can actually own them for good. I think physical movies especially are a great thing to collect right now because so few people are doing that. The majority of the public relies completely on streaming, which means the prices for Blu-rays are pretty reasonable. It's in a weird limbo state where it's not popular enough to be expensive, and it's also not rare enough to be expensive. Yet. Once again, I can't lie, a lot of the joy that I get from having these is simply the physicality of it. For some reason, I've always loved checking out the packaging of stuff, including movies. Like, what pictures do they use? What are the special features? And what does the disc look like? That sort of thing. Unfortunately, I have a bit of a bone to pick with Blu-rays specifically, though. Why the hell do they feel so flimsy? I can't tell you how many times I've found one of these that just doesn't close properly because it broke at some point. 4K cases are a step up for sure. This actually feels solid, but for me the true beauty is in the Criterion collection. Yes, I know I'm being a basic Criterion bitch right now, but let me have this. These cases look and feel amazing, which for the price you're paying for them, I mean, yeah, they better. They just have the perfect size, feel, and presentation. My absolute favorite thing is when packages have a little surprise, and Criterions almost always have a little booklet filled with super interesting information. Check this out, this one comes with a freaking newspaper. Like, bro, how cool is that? I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Seeing this amount of effort and care being put into the physical preservation of some of my favorite films just makes me happy. And it's that feeling that makes pursuing a collection of these things so rewarding.
There's few enough that I can actually talk about each one. And I mean, this one, you probably heard all about it. I don't need to say much more about it other than it kind of inspired me to get back into movies, really, and just kind of explore movies. Because I feel like it definitely changed my view of movies and art and whatnot, inspired me in many ways. But I mean, you've probably heard everyone already talk about how good this movie is, so I'll move on. In a similar way, this one was influential for me. It was one of the first movies I personally sought out, because for the longest time I just kind of watched movies with friends, or if it was on the TV, or if my friends were going to the movie theater to see a new Marvel movie or something, I would usually go see whatever everyone else was seeing. But this was the first movie I actually like kind of sought out on my own and tried to watch independently, and I'm glad I did, because it was a very good movie, so ahead of its time in many ways, and so like thought-provoking, but also, you know, it's Jim Carrey, so it's silly and entertaining. And emotional. Drive My Car was a movie that I was honestly kind of like, I guess I'll watch it, because I was at the library. I wanted to pick up a movie to check out, and I heard good things about this one. I was scared to watch it because I heard it was long as fuck, which it is, but it couldn't be more worth it. I watched it, fell in love with it. The soundtrack is great. The same as with the vinyls, how I liked the chill vibes. This movie is the essence of chill vibes. But at the same time is thought-provoking and dramatic. Love this movie, and I need to rewatch it, I think, to fully appreciate it. Afterlife is from one of my favorite directors, Koreeda, and it is just a phenomenal, like, introspective movie. It's one of the ones that makes you think about life, you know. It's touching, and just, I've always respected the way Koreeda is able to make stories that resonate so emotionally. They always get me, I feel like. And that is a genuine skill that I have a lot of respect for. And then, yeah, this movie is, I mean, what is there to say about this movie? It's just insane. I love the world building, how this feels like, it's never feels set in our reality. It feels like a completely different reality. What I love about a lot of the Criterion Blu-rays is that they come with all these cool little physical collectible stuff, like this booklet right here. I love diving into all the behind-the-scenes stuff and learning more about the films. And just the packaging is so cool. I love it all. Of all the collections, I really want to get more of these. I need to get those numbers up for sure.
If you can, I recommend collecting stuff. It doesn't have to hurt your wallet either. You can collect literally anything. Hot Wheels, paper clips, fire alarms. Like I said, it's not the physical objects that are important, really. It's about the experience of doing it. So give it a shot. Sometimes small things like this can be surprisingly meaningful.
Oye, ¿qué es eso?
Oh, this? I think it's just one of my knickknacks.
¿Qué significa para ti?
For some reason, I can't exactly remember. But I think it meant something special once.